Because I'm going to tell you right now, when you're in a situation and it's an argument, all you're trying to do right there is win. I mean, tell me I'm not right. Alrighty fam, welcome back to the channel. I'm very thrilled today to jump into a question that's coming from one of the followers on Instagram. Let me share with you what it is. All right, so this question is coming in from OK3 Mama. All right, hi girl. Thanks for submitting your question / topic to talk on. And what she said was marriage. All right, arguments. Do you apologize and move on or make it up later? Loaded question, sister. And you know what? It's funny because I don't know that I feel like I'm the best and most qualified to talk about this. Actually, in a way, I think I am because I was so bad at it. And I'm still learning at it. I'm light years ahead of where I used to be. So maybe I am a good person to talk about it. Let's jump into this stuff. All right, so as it pertains to marriage, all right, if I were to go back, as I have in a lot of the videos that you're seeing, it really comes down to the self-awareness that we have, right? And regarding your question, which is arguments and do I apologize or do I make it up? Speaking for myself, in the past, I have not been the person to apologize. I'm just not, right? And I'm not saying that's a good reason. And I will say this, this is one thing I know about myself. My communication style is that I give too much information. I give a lot of information, sometimes, according to my husband, an overwhelming amount of information when I communicate. Not only do I communicate information, I make sure that you can repeat it back to me to understand that. I do that. I don't know if that's good or bad. I think it's good. And because I'm able to communicate things clearly and in a detailed manner, I get that people understand what I'm saying, which means there's less instances of miscommunication, which means less instances for me to need to apologize. Okay, you see how that works backwards? And so I'm not saying that I never need to apologize. There's a lot of things that I do that I need to apologize for. But what I'm saying is because of my communication style, the occurrence is a lot less. So when these arguments do come up, because they do, I mean, my husband and I have been together for 25 years. We've been married for like 20 of that. This year's our 20th anniversary. Right on, right? Who wants to throw us a party? Anyways, it's our 20th anniversary, and but we've been together for 25 years. That's a lot of time to really get to know somebody, to learn all the things they love, all the things they hate, and here, guys, is the curious part. To still know that there's so many parts about that other person that you just don't know. That is just totally unrevealed to you. And that's the experience that my husband and I have had. And I think that's why, like I was saying, this qualifies me to talk about this question. And when I'm talking about that, what I realize is when it comes to argument, one thing that we've learned over the years are the buttons that we can push and the things we can do to smooth it over. Now, I will say for like over a decade, maybe up to 15 years of the 25 that we've been together, we've been in and out of therapy as just a regular thing. We've done it when we've had problems, like major marriage breaking problems, to just like, we're not agreeing and we're at a stalemate. We just need a third party to come in and tell us what's up, right? So we've used therapy at times when we were really in distress and things were hard. And we've used therapy at a time when things were going well and we could advance in our relationship. So that's a really nice, that's why I'm such a believer in therapy. I don't believe it's something like the doctor, like you go there when you're sick, when you have a cut, when you have a broken leg, right? That's when you go there. Other than that, you don't see them. But also what we do is like we regularly every year we have physical checkups, right? We make sure all the inner parts are working, blood work, we do all that stuff. We just do preventative maintenance on our body so that we know what's going on and we can be proactive in anything that's happening, under the skin level. But the same thing is true for mental awareness and our mental emotional capacity, and going to therapy has been super helpful for us. So I actually have a piece of paper given to us by our therapist one time that I actually want to share, because when you had that question, I was like, oh, I could totally share that, because it's super practical in giving you prompts on what to say when you're in that situation. Because I'm going to tell you right now, when you're in a situation and it's an argument, all you're trying to do right there is win. I mean, tell me I'm not right. But that's not the thing. What the reason the argument is happening is because there's been a miscommunication on some level, right? And so what we have to do is we have to recognize things that are causing the argument and really pinpoint that. And then learn how to repair after the argument or after the disagreement. And so this is really helpful. So this is called the Gottman Repair List. I'm actually going to see if I can scan this and put it in the in the description box below so that you guys can download a copy of it. But basically, a really important thing when you're talking with your partner, especially after there's been an argument and you're like, do I apologize, right? And here's the thing. Apologizing is always the best thing to do, even when you're wrong, right? And it is the hardest thing to do because when you're wrong, it's easy for you to apologize. But when you're kind of right, I still feel like in a lot of instances, you need to apologize for participating in like less than stellar behavior in a relationship with someone who you say you love forever and want to be with forever. In the muck of it all, right? It's very easy to be like, well, you did this and this is this, right? It's very easy to get into that place where it's all about us. But we forget that we are in this long relationship or maybe even a brand new relationship, but we're talking about marriage here. So we're in this committed relationship. And in this committed relationship, there is a degree of behavior that's expected of you to show towards the person who you say that you've loved and committed your life to, right? So if your behavior is horrible with your spouse, which I can say has been for me in the past, just as his has been towards me, I definitely would say I was worse towards him in a lot of ways than he was towards me. So God bless him for that. But what I'm saying is that, no matter how many instances, if you always come back to like, wait, I fucking love this person. Like there's on some level, we are together for some reason. We've chosen each other. We've committed to each other. Let me get back to that. Because once you start getting back to that, all these things about you did this happened, how come you didn't think, all the list of things that you have in your head about why you're right and why this argument happened and whether or not you should apologize, those things start to disappear because you realize, you know what, fuck, I do love this person. I need to make a better approach. So one of the best things that you can do when you're talking with your other half about, maybe mending an argument or trying to communicate more clearly and better to them, nicer to them, is to start your sentences with 2 words. I feel like, because what that does is it takes the accusations off of them, because it's very easy to say, well, you did this and therefore this is how I acted. You can't control the other person, right? This is a major theme, right? In Shan's world, right? You can't control the other person, but you can control yourself. So when you start your sentences with things like, I feel, and then you can say things like, I felt like that was an insult. That's true, right? My husband and I have said insulting things to each other just to get under the skin because we're in the heat of a moment, right? But if I respond and say, you know what, that hurt. I feel like that really hurt me. Like that makes me feel sad, the fact that you said that, right? And that is all on you. This is you owning how you feel and verbalizing it to the other partner, which gives them a chance to say, shit, I said something that hurt somebody who I say I love. Right? So it gives you a chance to pause. And that's really what this whole thing is, to pause, take stock of what's going on and really see what role do you, the only person who you can control, what role do you play in that? And therefore, what steps can you take? So there's other things. There's like, sorry is another section. Sorry, my reactions were too extreme. This is definitely something I can tell my husband. Like he has extreme reactions to things, right? Whether it's yelling or laughing, like however he reacts, his reactions are big, right? And so things like that, or sorry, I really blew that one, right? It's just little things that you don't think of to say. Another thing that you can do, especially after you've had the argument and you're really trying to mend things, is you can say things along the lines of, I know this isn't your fault, this is my fault, or here's my part of the problem, this is where I see I messed up. Right? Because again, this only keeps it on you because that's the only person you can control, but it lets the other person know like, hey, I'm thinking about you and I'm really thinking through this and I realize that this is not all you. I play a part of this. So that's a couple of the ones. Stop an action, right? In the middle of an argument, you might just have to be like, okay, whoa. I'm sorry. I might be wrong here. Let's kind of like slow down and break this down. I personally have been able to diffuse many arguments and many misunderstandings in my marriage and outside of my marriage with that one thing. I say, whoa, you know what? I think I actually might be wrong. Because when you accept that, what it does is it frees that other person to stop being mad at you because you are admitting to being wrong before even needing to apologize. Because you are having the self-awareness, go watch those videos, right? You are having the self-awareness to realize your role in this interaction, right? And so when you say, oh my God, I'm sorry, I might totally be wrong here, right? Here's another one. You know what? Let's take a break. This isn't getting anywhere. I'm actually getting more heated. I see you are too. Let's just take like an hour, right? Let's do what we got to do, right? It's these little things rather than allowing the fight to escalate, which I have done many times in the years before. Recently, maybe it's just with my older age, I want so much peace in my life that arguing just like, it's such a waste of time to me. I'm just like, I will agree with you and I will really think through it, but I don't want to sit here and argue with you. So let's take a break, right? That's a good one to do. Another thing is we're getting off track. Like stop it. We're getting off track. And that's a very common one that my husband and I have, right? Where, we're arguing about, why wasn't the dishes put away, right? It's simple. I did everything in the dishwasher. All you had to do was put it away in the morning, right? A simple thing like that. And in that argument, the small escalations, now we start pulling things. Well, remember back when we lived in Jack Hall, you didn't do this. I remember that time when we start pulling things in. We have to be aware enough to say, okay, it's very clear we are getting super off track from the whole fact that we were just talking about the dishes not being put away. Should we take a break? Do we need to come back to this, right? And that's where you need to have that communication and be like, and ask your partner to work with you to be like, you know what? That's right. We are totally off track. Time to stop, right? So that's another way to do it. Another one is get to yes, right? So help them to see that you want to get to, if they're asking you for something and they want you to get to a yes, help them help you, right? So you can say something like saying when they're talking, you know what, you're actually starting to convince me. Tell me a little bit more, right? Here's another one I have. You know what, I guess I get where your stance is right now. Let's compromise here. Let's find something that's good for you and for me. Let's each give a little bit. Another one that I have here, let's find our common ground. Let's find our common ground. Because a lot of times, like especially arguments over the years for my husband and I, there's been like his opinion on how things should be, my opinion on how things should be. And if we're talking about our kids, for example, our common ground was that we wanted them safe. That was like one thing that we agreed on, right? How we got there's a lot of disagreements, right? How to show someone love, very different. Like I showed my love by doing actions, working, giving my kids things in life and experiences, right? And working hard for them to see that. Capenna gave them love, showed them love by being affectionate, giving them hugs, giving them good words, saying that he's proud of them. I sucked at that. Dude, you guys are going to see another side of Shan when my book comes out. It's quite embarrassing in one aspect, but in another aspect, I'm just like, I can own that because I was so savage back then, but I'm not that way anymore because I see that I've been able to move away from that bad behavior. That's what I'm most proud of. And that's why this argument, how to repair things is very, very helpful to continue our relationship without having all the big ebbs and flows. We can just have like a nice little flow with small tiny bumps that are very easy or that are easier than they used to be to mend. Okay, so here's another one. Another one is saying not necessarily how you feel, but saying what your needs are, where you can say, you know what, I need to calm down. I need to calm down. Or asking them for, I just needed your support. And here's a great one that I learned with my teenagers. For those of you who have teenagers, when your kid is going off the rails for whatever reason, or they want to talk to you about it, or they say something to you, they're like, hey, can I talk to you? Which is kind of rare with teenagers, but my kids did that a lot. But when they say that they want to talk to you, it's very important to say yes, first of all, but you need to ask them, do you want me to just listen to you, or do you actually want advice? Because here's the thing with parents. As parents, we just, they tell us something, so we expect that our immediate reaction should be give them the answer, right? Or show them the way out. But sometimes, just like adults, teenagers, they just want to share their heart. They just want to share their frustrations, say what their friends are doing to them, and just saying how they're feeling. And they don't want to hear a response from you. They just want to be able to do that. So that's a really, really key question to ask your kids whenever they are opening up to you, especially when they do it kind of like off the cuff and you didn't expect it. Just say, hey, I'm super stoked to I want to hear what you're talking about, but I'm just going to ask first, do you want me to give you advice on whatever you're going to tell me, or is it more you just want me to listen? And whatever their answer is, especially if they say, I just want you to listen, then you gotta just listen, y'all. Okay? You will like feel it coming to the top of your mouth, be like, I just want to say this, like if they only knew this. But that's the way that we have to learn, right? We have to go through things in order for us to really feel them, right? And if we just have our mom and dad like clearing all the doors, clearing all the obstacles, giving us all the answers, we get to adulthood and our parents end up dying and we don't know how to do shit. We don't know how to emotionally sit with ourselves when our emotions are a little off kilter. We haven't learned that because someone took care of that. So it is important that you let your child, be sad over something, right? Because then they can learn how to repair and get happy. And that's very much the same in our marriage relationship. So there is so much more on this subject that I can add to, but I just want to give you a few tidbits that can help you in your everyday practical argument repairment mode. Okay. And they might not all apply to you, but it's a checklist. So you can say, you know what, I do say this a lot. I do this a lot, and check off the ones that you do. And you might see that there's a lot of work for you to be done, or you actually are doing pretty well. It's a great gauge to just kind of know where you stand on your relationships and, how well you are doing in them. And not to say that if you can check every box on this page that you're like the best at relationships. This is just one part of a relationship, y'all. Okay? There's so much more, but this is a big one because many of us have arguments. Sometimes we're able to apologize. A lot of times we're not, but many of us are. It's very hard to come back. Sometimes we'll go through 2 or 3 days of silent treatment before we slowly make our way back, right? I've done that, and that's not healthy. That's a whole other thing about going to sleep angry. I'll probably talk about that on the next video because that's something you don't want to do either. That's why the repair is very, very important. So I hope that was helpful to you folks and that you folks can use some of the tips. Go ahead and hit the like button if you enjoyed that, and subscribe, guys. Subscribe if you like the vibe. I definitely appreciate all of you folks coming back, listening to what I have to say and things, and ask me the questions that you want answers to that you feel I might be able to help you with. All right, so that is it, guys. I will see you on the other side, and until then, keep evolving, fam. Bye.